Hey everyone, welcome to Burnett Church Online this week. This week's service is going to look a little bit different than maybe you're used to, because normally I or somebody else would preach a sermon, and that's not actually how we used our time this week. Back when I visited in March, I didn't have the opportunity to sit down and do any kind of interactive conversation with a large group of people. And so actually one of our new leadership board, Amy Wilson, came to me and said, hey Tim, what if we did like a meet the pastor type event? And so myself and Melissa and our kids have spent some time earlier today getting to know the people at Burnett by sharing a bit of our story, answering some questions, and having a bit of fun. So we hope that you enjoy this kind of sneak peek into our life. I hope it helps our relationships get a little closer together. And before we get going with some worship, I just wanted to pray with you this morning. So if you'll just take a moment and dial in. You know, I know that it's strange to pray with the television, but one of the beautiful things about God's all-presentness is that He can connect us even though physical distance is between us. And so I just want to encourage you, really dial in here. Don't just let this go by. We are praying together. You can agree with the things that I'm praying, or you can pray on your own. Either way, just take a moment to connect with God right now. Our good Father, thank you so much for this day. Thank you for the gift that is technology in this strange season of life. Thank you that you are so powerful that even though we're not together, your Spirit can still cover the gap in between us. Thank you for your Son, Jesus, and thank you that He came to be in a relationship with us so that we can be in a relationship with you. And God, this morning, as we just take a few minutes to maybe get to know each other a little bit better, to share a few laughs and to have some fun, God, would you encourage us and build the community that is Burnett Church this morning as we look towards the fall and get ready for all the mission that you would have for us to accomplish. We ask you to come and be with us and guide us today. In Jesus' name, amen.
Lost at the fall, running away when I hear you call. Father, you worked your will. I had no righteousness on my own. I had no right to draw near your throne. Father, you love me still. And in love before you laid the world's foundation, you predestined to adopt me as your own. You have raised me up so high above my station. I'm a child of God by grace and grace alone. Left your home to seek out the lost. You knew the great and terrible cost. Jesus, your face was set. I worked the fingers down to the bone. Nothing a deed could ever atone. Jesus, you paid my debt. By your blood I have redemption and salvation. Lord, you died that I might reap what you have sown. And you rose that I might be a new creation. I am born again by grace and grace alone. I was in darkness all of my life. I never knew the day from the night. Spirit, you made me see. I swore I knew the way on my own. Head full of rocks, a heart made of stone. Spirit, you moved in me. At your touch, my sleeping spirit was awakened. for me. Who brings our chaos back into order? Who leads the orphan, a son and daughter? The King of glory, the King of glory, who rules the nation with truth and justice, shines like the sun in all of its brilliance. The King of glory, the King above all kings. This is amazing grace. This is unfailing love, that you would take my place, that you would bear my cross. You laid down your life, that I would be set free. Oh, Jesus, I sing for all that you've done for me. Worthy is the Lamb who was slain. Worthy is the King who conquered the grave. Worthy is the Lamb who was slain. Worthy is the King who conquered the grave. Worthy is the Lamb who was slain. Worthy is the King who conquered the grave. Worthy is the Lamb who was slain. Worthy, worthy of this is amazing grace. This is unfailing love, that you would take my place, that you would bear my cross. You laid down your life, that I would be set free. Oh, Jesus, I sing for all that you've done for me.
Hey Burnett, today I've got just one announcement for you. As we continue to look forward to a full reopening of our church, we need to begin to think about how we will run and sustain ourselves in a healthy way. As the old saying goes, many hands make light work. So we're going to take some time over the next 6 weeks or so to take stock and help you and others at our church get plugged into church life in meaningful ways. If you head over to our website right now, you'll find a simple form that acts as a virtual hand raise. I want to partner with Burnett to serve others. This is for anyone who was serving before COVID or wants to start in the fall. Look, really everything the church does should be about discipleship, in my opinion. So while there are lots of areas one could serve in, kids, youth, tech, hospitality, etc., 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 and we need help in all of those, we do want to take some time in this unique season to reboot, to help you grow in self-awareness, to know how God has wired you and how He's wired those you'll be serving next to. So, as I mentioned a few weeks ago, discovering your spiritual gifts and strengths are big parts of our discipleship plan going forward. So, when you let us know you want to serve, we will get back to you really quickly with some links for the assessments that I mentioned a couple weeks ago. And we'd like everyone serving through Burnett to have taken their spiritual gifts assessment and their strengths assessment. As a part of our discipleship plan, we will provide these assessments to you free of charge now. Our goal here isn't to pigeonhole anyone. I know some people don't like to be told who they are, but rather to provide a chance to create culture and language that at the very least will help you know yourself and then know those around you in a better way. It's a way for us to build unity and to do everything that we can to make sure no one is suffering more than they're enjoying their time serving at Burnett. Of course, past experience and preferences will play a part in getting you plugged in as well. Once you've completed these discovery tools, one of our staff will give you a call and review them with you and help you process any learning or thoughts you might have around them. It's going to be a great way for us to get to know you better. I'm super looking forward to it. Okay, so the website is ready and we'd love for you to bounce over there and sign up. This is an exciting time in our church's life. Churches don't often get this ability to stop and take stock. And it's a really unique opportunity for us to be intentional, prayerful, and strategic with the people resources God has given to Burnett Church. I can't wait to explore some of these findings with you in the coming weeks. Thanks, everyone.
Good morning, Burnett.
Morning, Amy.
There you go, that's my husband. Well, welcome this morning. It's nice to see such lovely faces. And so I'm Amy Wilson, Mike's wife, as well as a high school teacher, and I'm here to interview the pastor. Normally we have the opportunity when the pastor comes with his family, they all come up here, or you get to talk to them, ask lots of questions, and it can get really intense, and and so we wanted to make it a little bit more fun and have some really intense questions, but then at the same time have some fun questions just to get to know them. Tim's been talking about community, building communities, so we thought this would be a great way. Now we have a few more people in the church to build community together by just getting to know their story, sharing their life with us. So we're grateful for that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, excellent. So people have been, I think the office sent out questions, poll questions that you all answered. We hope you all answered. And throughout this whole thing that we will get the opportunity to see what your answers were and what their answers are, and see how much we know of them so far. Maybe not a lot, maybe a little bit. So I like this picture, the first picture beforehand, because we don't know them very well. So they're wearing masks. They're kind of hidden. And hopefully as this process goes on, the masks might come off, and then the next picture comes on where, Tim is slightly cut out, kind of hazy. He's an international man of mystery.
Sort of see my right ear very well there.
There we go. So it's a good listening ear.
It is, yeah.
Yes, so he's very good at listening so far. So as we get to know him, we'll see more of his face.
Who's laughing at me already? That's terrible. My family.
Excellent. So what I tell my students most of the time when they come into my classroom is, when you come into class, the first day you have 100% in the class, right? You have an A, 100%.
Okay. We're done. That's it. I want 100%. We're going home right now.
And so you are starting off with 100%. It is up to you to keep it at 100%.
This is a high-stakes game. I'm very competitive, so now I feel like I need to win.
Right, so we'll start with a very simple question.
Okay.
That I hope you'll get the right answer. I believe in you for this one.
Mm-hmm.
So what, in your house when you were growing up and your mom was mad at you, how did she address you?
Well, unlike most people, I was a perfect child, so actually my mother was never upset with me, ever.
Okay, 98%, the wrong answer.
I'm supposed to be truthful about this, aren't I? Okay. My mother would use my full name when I got in trouble. Timothy David Heerebout. We get all biblical up in our house because my parents gave me super biblical names. So Timothy David Heerebout. And then if she was happy with me, she would condense it right down, just to call me T. So it was one extreme to the other. Lots of vowels or no vowels at all.
Oh, excellent,
Yeah,
excellent.
yeah.
So excellent. That is the right answer. That's the answer I have.
Yes.
So 100%. Good job.
Yes.
Good job.
Thank you, everyone.
Now, it's still up to you to keep it at 100%. So this is a little bit of a harder question. What book of the Bible is speaking to you right now? So it's a spiritual question. There may be a wrong answer, but we'll find out.
I suppose if I chose something from the Apocrypha, that would probably be terrible.
Yes.
Yeah, no. Actually, it's funny. Some of these questions I knew ahead of time. So I got to think about them. And my journey in Scripture over the last 18 months has been one where I've been learning to appreciate the Bible in its entirety. We very often will take the scriptures and rightfully study a book or study a chapter or even study a couple of verses at a time. But sometimes when we do that, I think that we lose the fact that the Bible is telling a very coherent story from beginning to end, And actually, I've heard people tell others, you shouldn't read the Bible from the beginning to the end because, you'll probably get lost somewhere in Leviticus or whatever.
Which is actually a really good book. I like it.
Yeah, I think that the challenges, there's so many details to the story that's going on. But if you learn to see Scripture as this, beautiful, overarching meta-narrative of what God is trying to do in the world, then the book of the Bible that I like the best becomes the Bible, like the whole thing as a coherent, and so for me, I don't know if that's cheating or not, but for me, it really has been this newfound appreciation for the beauty with which God put together the entirety of Scripture and not just any one book in particular.
Yeah. No, that's great. That's great. I think it's quite important to not just pick and choose verses. I remember finding a cartoon one time, and the person's highlighting in the verse in the cartoon, and somebody comes up and says, "So, are you highlighting your favorite verse?" He's like, "No, just the ones that don't apply to me." They all apply. We don't want to pick and choose, right?
Yeah.
We want to have the whole story. Excellent, excellent. So we're going to go on to a poll question, and it'll come up in a second.
This was audience participation, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So audience has answered some of these questions.
Close your eyes, because I think it gave away the answer.
I think there's the next one too, but you were asked if you liked hockey, football, or soccer kind of thing. And what's your answer before we give the audience answer?
Well, okay, so the question is, are we talking about today, or are we talking about, like, always? Because right now, the European Soccer Championship is happening. And so when Euro or the World Cup take place, I start bleeding orange. My family heritage is Dutch, and you could probably tell by all the vowels in my last name. Dutch people make names by taking all the vowels in the alphabet and throwing them at the wall, and whichever ones stick, that becomes your name with a van in front of it at least 50% of the time. So all the vowels in my name. But right now, so I'm bleeding orange. So today, at this very moment, it may still be going on. The Dutch national team is fighting for their life against the Czech Republic in the round of 16 at Euro. So today, I care most about soccer. Generally speaking, it's hockey.
Hockey.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what the audience said.
They put football second, which is extremely wrong. Like, I have no affinity for football whatsoever, and as far down we go, like, please don't ever ask me about the CFL, because I will probably say something offensive about the CFL to you. So just don't ask. Okay, it's an off-limits topic. Yeah.
Excellent note. Good to know. Good to know. So the next question is a little bit harder, right? So we know that the Bible is your favorite, one book. Is there a book other than the Bible that has been pivotal in your life?
Yeah. I'm going to do two, actually. Is that okay?
Okay.
So the first one was actually set me off on this journey of exploring Scripture as its entirety. It's got a strange name. It's called The Blue Parakeet. I found that it's a super fascinating book about how to read the Bible and what we do with it. And it was really inspirational to me. But one that's had an even longer journey in my life was called An Unstoppable Force. And so it was one pastor in one church's sort of like, here's our vision for what church life could and should be. And it was so powerful that, after I read it, it started to really change our perspective. It's probably was the primary influence in getting our family out from the ministry job we were doing in London, Ontario, and off to plant a church from scratch in Toronto. And I've read it 3 or 4 times now. If I ever need a real shot in the arm for believing about what the church can become, I go back and I read that book. Because it's one of those ones, have you ever read this book where it's like, it feels like somebody else wrote all your thoughts out in a much more intelligent way than you can put them, right? That's kind of how I feel about An Unstoppable Force. So.
Excellent. I think that's a great thing to have. So now you've got this book, and you're at a new church, creating your vision. We have this opportunity to put into practice the book that you really enjoyed and were influenced by, right? So next we talk about influential people in your life. And You know, I think there's a quote going to come up: behind every successful man is a very strong woman. And we also have Proverbs 31, and I know that probably a lot of that speaks to your wife, and you could probably keep adding to that list, because just from the brief little bit that I know of her, she's pretty amazing. So we're going to call Melissa up here. Yay! Woohoo!
Come quickly. I miss you. How are you? You good? Good.
Hey, no side talk. It's my interview.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Pay attention.
You left pillows here, so we talk.
No.
Okay. Is that a joke? Is that a bad joke?
Detention.
Good dad joke.
Oh,
Okay.
wah, wah.
Timothy, you're going to lose marks.
This really does feel like school.
Timothy David Heerebout.
This really does feel like school. I'm in detention again. Yes, excellent.
So God created us all with so many different talents. You know, the people in the congregation, people who are watching this, we all have so many talents, and you guys have so many talents. And so I went and I stalked. I normally don't do this, but I don't stalk people on Facebook or Instagram, but I had to go and stalk you guys 15 years back and find some wonderful pictures of you to put up here. And, you know, as I was looking through them, just noticing all the different things you've done in ministry and your family life and all of it, it's awesome to see, and it's awesome to have you.
And so, Tim, is it 15 years?
It is no longer 15 years. It's 19 almost.
Woo!
The end of the summer.
He's still at 100%. That you
19
remember. That is 19 years.
19 is still at 100%.
We just talked about it the other day, and I think the last time somebody asked us this question, I said our anniversary was on August 30th, and you were like 31st?
31st?
But I got the number of years right, so I think I saved myself.
We're good.
Well,
We're
I
good.
always get 0 on that one because we got married July 30th, and I still don't know, and then I know it's embarrassing, and the wife always knows because it's the important date.
I always forget the year.
Yeah,
Melissa
I just
always
picked it
forgets it
close
was
to my
2002.
birthday. I go, it's a couple of days after my birthday, right? So, so it's good to, in a marriage, to acknowledge the gifts and talents, because we all bring them into our relationships. You know, in our family, you know, Mike and the kids, they are great singers, music talent. I'm offbeat 99% of the time, and I'm not allowed to sing.
We'll be good friends, Amy, because
Yeah, but it's okay. God loves my singing voice and your singing
It's
voice.
a sweet sound to Jesus.
Well, to Jesus only, but
No one
maybe
else.
not to everybody around
Good thing
us.
Jesus is atonal. It's like
Yes.
he doesn't. Yeah.
Right. So I'm allowed to video everything, and then sometimes I get caught up in the moment and I sing along, and then you're like, oh, there's such.
We're gonna have to do that one again.
Yeah. There's such disappointment in their faces, but that's okay. They still love me for other talents, right? So I know that Melissa's talented, and I'm sure you know a lot better. Can you, Tim, tell us, what does Melissa bring to the table that you don't have?
Well, generally speaking, people just like her more than they like me. I don't know what it is, but typically when they you know, if somebody meets me without Melissa, that's the first thing I'll tell them. I'm like, just wait until Melissa shows up because she does so much for me. It's incredible. She raises my level of likability quite a bit. But you know, like, and I think part of that is, you know, we all have personalities and talents and strengths. That's part of what I was talking about before. You know, us wanting to be aware of who we are and who God's made us to be, and maybe how we can be most successful. And so when you take StrengthsFinder, see how I said that? When you take StrengthsFinder, all of you, you will discover that the organization that put that assessment together has 34 strengths they've identified, okay? And it's really just a tool to help us know our natural proclivity. You know, it comes from the idea that, hey, you could spend forever working on things that you're really terrible at and only maybe grow this much in them. But if you're here already with a particular thing and you're good at it, then you're almost unlimited in your potential for growing that, right? So I often joke, look, if there are 34 strengths, empathy for me is probably number 36, because it's very low on my natural proclivity. You know, I told the board when I was interviewing, I'm like, look, I'm probably not the squishiest candidate you have. I might be physically, but like in terms of like personality-wise, I'm probably not the squishiest candidate you have. But what I've learned is that, first of all, I can grow in that, right? So I've learned to be more empathetic. But naturally, Melissa is actually quite a bit more empathetic than I am. So if I need a good dose of empathy in the room, they're like, well, how do you get around that? I'm like, oh, it's really easy. I bring Melissa with me, right? Because just her presence in the room with me helps me to be more aware of something that I'm not, and she is.
That's
right?
awesome to
Yeah.
hear, knowing where
Still
you're
at
weak
100%.
and then bringing in the strength. What did you say, Melissa?
Thank you.
I said he's still at 100%.
Well, the fact that you bring in empathy brings up to like 105%, right? So I went and looked up, dictionary definitions, all that kind of stuff. But I looked up empathy in Amy Wilson's dictionary, and Melissa's picture comes up. Great. Like,
Wow.
if you guys go look in your own
That's a
dictionaries, that's
coincidence.
going to come up.
Because
in
you
my
wrote that a
dictionary.
long time ago, right?
I
Amy
did.
Wilson. Yeah,
way,
yeah.
way long time
Yeah.
ago.
Way before Webster.
Oh yeah, way.
Anybody know who that Webster guy is, by the way? Why is he the official word on every word? I don't understand. I don't even know who this guy is.
And he knows all the words in the dictionary because he wrote the
I
dictionary.
know. It's crazy.
Right?
His vocabulary is immense.
It is. Woo, look at that. All right,
Thank
so
you.
then I looked up patience, and Melissa came up again. All right. I don't know. There's a little theme going on here. Then we looked up wisdom. Melissa came up. And then we looked up coolness factor. Pizza gallery.
That was my kid.
Right there.
I keep telling
That's
her
our
I'm
nearly
cool.
13-year-old daughter who doesn't think we're very cool at all.
No
You're cool.
13-year-old
Hey,
thinks
I've
they're
noticed
very-
something about your dictionary. I'm not in it.
Well, you may be in it for...
We just didn't look at the right words?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. When it says non-empathetic, your picture was there. It was like the whole page. So Melissa,
This feels more like a roast than an interview right now, actually.
well, you said I could do what
That's
you
right.
gave me
Yeah,
free-
I did give you free rein.
Yeah, free reign. Right, Melissa. Right, when we want to learn more about some of the ministries that you've been involved in the past, maybe share with us what you've done.
Yeah, so Tim and I, I don't know, it's been quite a few years now, but Tim and I were church planters in Toronto for about 6 years. So we jumped into, you mentioned it earlier, we were serving at a church in London, and we just really felt God call us to Toronto to start a church and amongst university students. So that was a really fascinating journey over 6 years. We started it with probably half of the students we had were not followers of Christ. At the time, some of them became followers of Christ as they journeyed with us. And starting a church with 50-50 percentage of people who know Jesus and people who are just on that path, that seeking path, was amazing to be able to journey through that. And then when we were in St. Thomas, I was on staff as a pastor as well. I handled all of our adult ministries. And then I also got to work for a great organization called Compassion Canada when we first moved to London as well. And they were a pretty amazing organization to work with. If you know anything about compassion, I'm sure you'd probably agree with me.
That kind of goes with the theme. Empathetic, compassion. Did you work for another organization?
I did. Thanks for asking.
Did you have a job before this?
I did. I worked at McDonald's for a while. No, that was only one day, and then anyway, I did work for World Vision actually in between church planting, and so I was a worship pastor and then church planter, and then sometimes you look. We moved to help our family. And sometimes ministry gigs just don't exist where God calls you.
Yeah.
And that's okay because you can still do ministry without having a title or a job.
Mm-hmm.
Thank the Lord because all of you are ministers, right? So, in that space of time, I worked for World Vision in their youth and engagement department. So,
Excellent. Excellent. So we have another poll question coming up, right? It's games night in your home. What game are the Heerebout's playing? Card games, board games, Trivial Pursuit, or we don't play games, we just like to watch movies.
if it was up to me, it would be answer number 4. But that's actually not our reality. We are a card games family, mostly because of the influence of Melissa and our wee one, Mackenzie. She loves to play cards.
She's a card shark.
Yeah.
Like, she wins probably, 90% of the time, Mackenzie?
Yeah. She's She's
Yeah.
very, very good at it. What did the
What did the audience say?
Oh.
Board games. And then
Board
second
games.
was movies, card games, and Trivial Pursuit last.
Yeah,
I like a good round of Trivia Pursuit, though. Yeah.
I do too.
I think
Yeah,
it-
I'd prefer that to.
Well, it depends on
Card
what
games,
era
probably.
the Trivial Pursuit is from, you know? Current Trivial Pursuit? Nothing. I got nothing.
No. They made all
The
these
90s
weird
would be a
spin-offs,
good
too
one.
specific.
Exactly. Excellent. So board games, you guys will have to maybe get onto the board games with the card games. Mix them together, kind of thing, right? Melissa, what's something that your family has been grateful for, or you have been grateful for in this last year that with COVID and everything?
I mean, it's all been such an interesting year for everybody. I mean, we started off the COVID last March, and our family's gone on an interesting journey. You know, last March we weren't expecting to move and whatnot, and yeah, it was an interesting season. And I think what I've really been grateful for is just the extra time with our kids. I'm hoping we'll look back and just be grateful that we got to spend an extended amount of time together as a family. So I was really grateful that that was a gift that COVID gave. Yeah.
So Tim, what's the struggle over this last year?
I feel like I get all the hard questions. Yeah, you know what? I mean, look, oftentimes you find your greatest strength is your greatest weakness. And so I think, you know, in all of the blessing that it was to spend so much time together, it's also actually pretty challenging to spend so much time together. You know, but apart from that, I think I would also say just we've all had to learn these new skills all of a sudden. You know, in my old job, I was primarily a worship pastor, and then all of a sudden overnight I was a cameraman and a video editor, and I hadn't really done much of that before. And so I think the way that it's sort of called all of us to like up our game and learn new skills has been, I mean, it's a blessing and a curse at the same time, right? It puts you outside of your comfort zone really, really fast. And I think that we've all sort of been there and felt, yeah, that's, sometimes I don't love being out of my comfort zone, right? But it's good for me, but I'm not sure I love it all the time.
I think we probably have learned a lot of different skills. I know I've watched my husband learn all about video editing, and at the beginning learning the frustration, the process, and the number of hours he'd put into it. It's like, okay, I'm here too. But you know, you have to adjust. You have to just adjust to society and whatever happens in society. All right, so let's look at another poll question. So Melissa, you're gonna give Tim a credit card, right? He gets to max out. And Tim, where would you spend it? At Long and McQuaid or Tom Lee Music, Toronto Maple Leaf Store, the Canucks Store, or Purdy's Chocolates? Remember, 100% is what you're going for.
I don't even know what it would look like to max out a credit card at Purdy's Chocolate Store. Like what would you do with that much candy? It'd be unbelievable. You'd be sick for the rest of your life. It's a super simple answer. It's the music store every time. Yeah, it's not even just give me the card. I'll go. I'll have it. It'll be filled up in about 45 seconds.
Okay. All
Easily.
Right. What does the audience say? Music store. Excellent. And then Maple Leafs and Chocolate Shop.
I see the Canucks didn't even make the
What
didn't even
kind of
make the
loyal
list.
Vancouverite
Isn't
fans
that
are we?
usual, huh?
We are not fans.
Just trying to get Eric to shut off my microphone.
Right. So you know, as I've gone through your pictures and all that kind of stuff and stalked you, I noticed a few things. During COVID, how did you share Christ with your neighbors right around you?
Yeah. It's an interesting season, right? Because we all need to be in our homes, and so we really wanted to get creative, and we had the toilet paper rush. Did anyone else have that, where everyone went and bought toilet paper at the beginning, and then you had to go buy toilet paper because everyone else was buying toilet paper, and you legit just needed toilet paper. You weren't hoarding it, but it's how it goes, right? So in December, after all of the initial panic buying, when Ontario went back down into lockdown, we wanted to do something fun to bless our neighbors. And we had about 12 neighbors on our street. And so we went to Costco, bought a big thing of toilet paper because it was all back in stock at that point. And we took like cellophane things that you wrap baskets in, and we put in toilet paper and hand sanitizer and some candy, and then wrote a little note, just saying, like, we're here for you, we're in this together, lockdown survival kit or something like that, and from your neighbors at 19 High Street. Because we hadn't actually, just the way the street was set up, we hadn't actually gotten to know a ton of our neighbors along there. So it was a really great way just to connect and something fun. We got the kids involved, and we ran up the street and they dropped them all off on the front porch. Well, a couple days later, I think we had a significant snowstorm out there, and we noticed there was someone out. I thought it was my dad at first out shoveling my driveway, but it was actually one of our neighbors had come and was shoveling the driveway. And then a little while later, someone brought a huge bag of jelly beans. I think we still actually brought them with us. They're in the cupboards, but because there's such a big bag of jelly beans for the kids. And then once we made it to the end of that lockdown, we sent we did the same thing again, I think it was a month later, with a bag of popcorn and some more candy, and so like have a movie night together, and again, just from your friends at 19 High Street. And it just kind of got neighbors talking back and forth. And it wasn't about us, but it was just about trying to build community and some connection there.
Absolutely, especially during those times when people are going through hard times, and sometimes we're so blessed, right? We want to help other people. And I remember, even research shows that when you do outward focus, you are also becoming a happier person, right? And dealing with all that kind of stuff. And so it was great to hear of different stories of people blessing other people in the community.
Isn't it amazing when research confirms something we already knew from the Bible, like several thousand years ago? Like, if you serve others, you will heal, right? Like, this is God's way of healing humanity. And that's just, I always find it funny when we're still rediscovering the Bible through science, right?
And I really think it was about trying to build relationships, right? We hadn't been good, I will confess, we hadn't been good about building relationships with our neighbors. And so we couldn't just go and say, okay, well, just let me tell you about Jesus.
No.
Right? We needed to be able to build a connection and some relationship with them so that we would have the opportunity to be invited into their lives, so that then they could get to know us, they could get to know the hope and the love that we have found in Jesus, and have that opportunity to share Jesus with them.
Yeah.
But we had to make that initial connection, so we just made it fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's great. So Tim, our church is called Burnett Fellowship Church, Baptist Church. It's a long name, but we've changed it to Burnett Church. Can you expand on that?
Well, yeah, so like sometime in the past, we were Burnett Memorial Fellowship Baptist Church, and I think we were Burnett Memorial Regular Baptist Church before that as well. Like, there's been a few changes, right? And so all the way along, we've had kind of this longer name than we actually use, whether it's Burnett or Burnett Fellowship or Burnett Church. They're all just ways of sort of like getting to the point a little quicker. And so, in talking to the leadership board and just hearing their heart for our next season, and recognizing that there's a real big potential in Maple Ridge right now to welcome people into our church family, because people have flooded out of Vancouver and moved this way. And so the housing boom and all the crazy real estate, it's all a sign that people are moving into town at a pretty rapid rate. And so the question isn't, how do we identify ourselves, but the question is, how do we identify ourselves to the people that don't know us? And hey, we've been a part of the fellowship family for a while now. We love them, and incidentally, some people have asked, does that mean we're not a part of the fellowship anymore because we're saying Burnett Church and not Burnett Fellowship? No. Nothing changed about our relationship with Jim. It was just about, if you're not a part of the fellowship family, then you don't know what fellowship means, right? But everybody knows what church means. Like, Burnett Church is very, very clear to everyone. So we didn't change our identity in any way, shape, or form, except that we changed our visual identity to those outside our walls just to make it easier for them to connect with us. So there's no barrier. I think that as often as possible, part of our job as witnesses for Christ is to remove as many barriers between the person that we're talking to and Jesus as we possibly can. And it was just a really simple, like, hey, this would be more efficient, as we get practicing an outward focus again. So yeah, just
Good.
just a marketing decision, really.
Yeah,
You know?
that's like my name. My full name is Amy Narinder Banti Kaur Dillon Wilson. And
It's bonus points if anybody can repeat that 5 times fast.
right. And for short, it's just Amy Wilson. It's a little bit easier. It's easier to recognize and understand. And yeah, no, I think that's great. Let's go to the next slide. Next poll question. Melissa, which destination would you like to visit? So we've got Italy, Mexico, Russia, and Maple Ridge on the list.
It's Maple Ridge, of course.
Of course.
But we already ticked that off our list.
Oh, right.
So.
Okay, so the next one.
Oh, check.
Next year is our 20th wedding anniversary, Tim.
Tim,
Just saying.
20.
I know that.
20.
I already answered the 19 years question. 19
And
comes
you know,
before 20.
Italy is just so romantic and beautiful,
Oh,
and
so
I've never
not
been
Russia,
there.
not Russia.
We've been to Mexico.
You've been to Mexico. You are in Maple
I
Ridge.
know. Yeah.
We left someplace that had bitterly cold winters. I'm not going to Russia. No way.
So maybe yeah, Italy. Absolutely Italy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We've actually been saving
Hint.
our air miles points for like a decade to try and get to Italy. I think we have enough. So
You're good to go to Calgary so far.
that's right.
Right. So let's see what the audience poll members said. Italy.
Good job. Good
Yes.
job.
Confirmation. Foreshadowing.
Mexico definitely comes before Russia, though. Sorry.
Right. Excellent. Tim, as we're talking about, some of your gifts and some of your personality traits, what's the nerdiest thing you do in your spare time? Peanut Gallery is great over there.
Well, the truth is, I think I'm probably really nerdy behind the scenes. Like the things that I do with YouTube when my family goes to bed, like I'll spend a lot of time watching videos about the new Marvel movies and shows that have come out, trying to find the Easter eggs that are in them and know all the theories and what's going to happen in the future. Even nerdier than that is when I watch Lord of the Rings historical videos. So it's not even like about the movie, it's just like about the lore that goes by. It's a deep dive and
By the way, for
and
the
anything
people at
about
home,
guitars, all the stuff. I know way too much about guitars and pedals, and so yeah, I've got some nerds in my closet for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, the people at home may not be able to hear, but we've got your children pointing out comments about your nerdiness.
Yeah, my children have learned the fine art of heckling.
But sometimes you become like your parents, guys. So, talking about the kids, I have a really cool quote coming up. Remember, as far as everyone else knows, we are a nice, normal family. So why don't the rest of you guys come up and we can meet the rest of the nice, normal family.
It's just like the conversation we had this morning before we came to church. Okay, guys. Everybody thinks we're totally normal, so just behave well. But then we sorted out a way that they could sit on the couch without fighting, so it's all strategic.
Exactly. I like the hat, Mackenzie. It's very stylish. You would fit in Italy and France perfectly.
This is my mom's hat.
Oh, so she would fit in Italy perfectly. Excellent. Excellent. So I'll ask you guys, your dad's at about a 98, your mom's like at 110%. Maybe
Yeah.
you can pull your dad up a little bit by telling us your favorite cereal.
My favorite cereal
Yeah.
would be Life cereal.
Life cereal. Good choice.
A Raisin Bran.
Raisin Bran. Anybody in the audience like Raisin Bran? 2 scoops? Oh, yes.
Yeah,
There's a
that's
couple people.
I like
Fruit Loops.
Fruit Loops. Nice, colorful Fruit Loops. We got Fruit Loops once a year, and that was at Christmas. That's the only time we got sugared cereal. I know. We ate it all in one shot and got sick in one shot, too.
We barely have cereal.
So, Layla, I have a question for you. Your moms, sometimes moms go away and retreats or do missions trips, and they leave dad at home alone with the kids. And dad sometimes has to cook. And I've heard this phrase, beige food, being thrown around. You want to tell us what that is?
Yeah, so me and my mom had gone away to India for a mission trip, and when we come back, my dad was preaching a sermon, and he was talking about how the only thing that the twins wanted to eat was beige food. It was eggs and toast and pasta and chicken nuggets and bagels and anything that was beige is all they
Anything
wanted
that-
to
Only
eat.
thing that we wanted to eat.
That's pretty much the only thing you wanted.
Yeah,
No.
was anything beige.
No.
And so he has, or pizza.
Pizza's not beige.
Pizza's beige.
But yeah.
We've had this debate before.
I like candy.
So now we call him the king of beige food, and he's really good at cooking beige food. Yep.
Excellent. There's nothing wrong with beige food. My husband, he thought that sweet chili sauce was spicy when we first got married. He's getting better. We're adding a little bit at a
Yeah.
time. He's
Yeah.
getting better at
Yeah.
it. Right? We even cook Thai curry with an extra pepper in there once in a while. So, yeah. So, Julian, it's a hard question, but every dad has dad jokes. At our house, when I'm vacuuming, every time I'm vacuuming, I'll be like, boy, this vacuum sucks.
I don't get that
Right.
joke. I don't get it.
Vacuums suck up dirt.
Vacuums suck up. I know, so you're not supposed to get dad jokes?
That's how dad jokes are.
Yeah.
So terrible they need to be explained.
Yeah.
Perfect timing.
They
Perfect.
suck.
So, Julian, will you tell us a dad joke in your house?
How does Moses start his morning?
How does Moses start his morning?
He brews coffee because he's Hebrew. That's terrible.
Okay. Well, good try, Dad. You did a better job than Dad. That was really good.
Yeah.
Right. So, in case somebody wanted to, like the audience, we've got a new pastor, and I know you've been spoiled by different families, but if they wanted to come and spoil you guys with food, gifts, what would they be? Mackenzie, give us one thing they could drop off.
Can I do a gift and food?
Sure. What would it
This is
be?
our family.
And a food?
This is our family.
One thing of each. For food, I would do candy.
Candy for food.
Candy is delicious.
hmm
And for a gift,
Brand new car.
no, it'd be probably a computer.
A computer.
Wow.
Excellent. Go big.
You
know
don't
what?
actually have to bring her a computer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Don't feel
throw it out
pressured to
there.
bring it to me. It's okay.
The Bible says, ask and you shall receive. You never know. Right? Julian, why don't you give us an answer?
Doesn't it also say thou shalt not embarrass your parents?
Oh, no, not yet.
No, it should be the other way around. The parents won't embarrass the kids.
Okay, go ahead.
Pizza. So I was like, I want pizza and an iPhone 12.
Excellent.
The newest
Excellent.
iPhone.
Okay. Well,
Is this one going on?
Mackenzie, what would you think?
This is mine now.
That was Dad's now.
I'm just
We'll
telling
get back
you
to the land of
food.
reality.
Sorry, Layla, you can go.
They're
Go
bringing
for it.
everything back to normalness. Anything that has to do with peanut butter cookies or something.
Excellent. Peanut butter cookies.
Our family
My girl-
loves peanut butter.
All the peanut butters.
All the peanut butter.
Right. So you guys went out for dinner the other day for grad. What did you have for dessert?
I had chocolate peanut butter cheesecake.
Ooh, that sounds good. That sounds
It
good.
was so good we couldn't finish it all.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
So
Nope, I couldn't.
last slide. Actually, if you guys want, the kids, if you guys want, now we can see their faces, right?
Yay!
So,
Look at that cute family.
we've brought.
go
We're
back,
gonna
sit
got
down.
my handy helpers. They're gonna
All
bring
right.
up the table here.
The price is right.
We have a table and some music coming up.
Oh, we got the music this time.
The Price is Right. We got the
What
next
do you mean?
slide.
We've never done this before. What are you talking about?
Sorry, no, yep, first time.
So, in front of you, you have 3 boxes, box number 1, 2, and 3. And our audience got to choose. at home. So should we see the one they chose for you, or do you want to choose first?
They chose door
They
number 2.
chose door number 2.
What do you guys think here?
What
1,
do
2,
you
3.
guys think here? Door number
3,
1,
Answers.
2,
What do you think?
Come on, you guys have watched The Price is Right. You know you're supposed to yell it out loud. 1, 1, 2, up.
Okay, that just sounds like my classroom when kids are all answering at the same time. I don't know, right? So,
That's all good. You get to pick.
and I moved them around, so you never actually, things got changed around.
Oh no.
Go, 1, 2, 3.
If she moved things around, number 3 is the safe one. You
We're
get a
gonna
different
go
one.
with number 1.
Number 1? This one or that one?
That one.
That one.
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
No, it's gonna be a photo.
Oh, it's a family picture.
Ah.
Nice.
There was no last time. Shh.
This is the first time. So a
This is the first
1970s family picture. I was gonna Photoshop your faces in there, but then there's 2 extra kids. And we didn't want to foreshadow anything about what might happen in the future.
What cracks me up about this picture is that I swear my grandmother has almost exactly the same family photo of her family with my mom in it. Like it looks exactly the same. They're wearing the same outfits, and they probably have the same couch pattern as the vests are in this one. It's amazing.
I would like to see that on your desk for whenever I come in.
Yeah,
or
yeah. Oh, yeah,
anyone
totally. I'll
comes
totally
in.
put it there.
Right, so why don't we we'll move this one out of the way. What would be the next choice you'd have?
Everybody was here.
2, Mackenzie?
2. Ooh, a Mom and Me's pie.
Hi.
You guys got pie
Can
from
we
Mom and Me?
Can we still steal the pie?
Yes.
Can we take it?
Did that come from our local pie ladies?
That came from our local pie. And then peanut butter and Nutella.
Stealing the Nutella.
And it's Jif
I'm
peanut butter.
stealing that
It's
Nutella.
not even the
And-
no-name stuff. Oh,
And it's
Nutella.
a big container,
Can I steal it?
right?
Kids would be excited.
You can have them all.
Yeah, I think that's.
Right?
Sorry, there's no computers under there, kids, but you know.
Yeah.
I already
Nutella
have
and
one.
peanut
It's
butter
okay.
would be great. Okay, I think you Rugrats can go sit down.
So now I'm going to ask your dad a few hard questions, right? So you may not want to be here for that part. While you get to enjoy, thanks guys. And here, but they were shy.
Yeah, we couldn't get
Always risky.
we couldn't get a third one because then you would know we're not a normal family.
Right, so I'm going to call up our board, Steve, board member, leadership board, and we have a little bit of an announcement to make before we continue. He's going to walk up here. He's going to go to the back.
Everybody give Steve a round of applause. Thanks for coming
Thanks,
to the show.
everybody. This is such a great opportunity.
You don't have a cool
Actually,
thing like I
Should I
do.
put this on?
No, I've got
Are
this
you sure?
cookies. You got to use them.
I want to first start and say something I never said earlier today. You know, I've got to know Amy in a new way. She's serving with me on our new leadership board, and it's been great to get to know her. And I made a comment this morning that maybe I shouldn't make again, but I will. You know, I've found her to be very cheeky, and she is very, very
Never.
sharp. She's very bright, and she's actually very hard to keep up to. And I thought I could speak and talk fast, but no, she actually outdoes me every time.
This is all her idea, so before we forget, let's show our appreciation to Amy for
Yes.
She did the slides and came up with the questions, and it's been great.
Second thing, I just want to add how great it's been here today to see both groups of people here in actual place. Obviously, we really didn't think that we would be separated for so long. I made a comment this morning that my daughter-in-law told me at the first service that her youngest daughter has never been in church before. And here she's walking around. I mean, that's just mind-boggling to think of the time that we've been separated. But it's nice to be looking forward now and to looking forward to, you know, what coming back into a building will be like, what the programs may or may not look like. And today, my primary reason to be here is to announce that your leadership team has saw the recent key departures of staff here as being significant challenges for us to deal with, and particularly in light of COVID and getting reestablished and restarted in the fall, and actually even just getting through spring. So because of that, we've asked Melissa to come into a one-year relationship as an associate pastor with Tim to help us at least evaluate where we're at, to help out in the programs where they need to be helped out in the interim, and to help us develop a plan as to what would be next. And so we've been really excited to be having that conversation with her about it. And particularly the fact that we didn't want to spend a lot of time going through a lengthy search process for somebody else when we recognize that Melissa has done this role in the past already. So Melissa, this is for you. I know this has never been part of the original plan, but here we are. You already had a job since you've been here already, correct?
Yes. Yep. I was working with Kevin Ivancic at his accounting firm when we came on, and he's a part of the leadership board as well. And it was a great opportunity that Kevin gave me, and I was so thankful to be able to step in right away. Even before we got here, I had that job. So, yeah. So Kevin was very gracious in this whole process.
Excellent. Wow, you do have a lot of talents. I feel like, I remember when Mike was talking about, interviewing you, one of the things you said was, hey, I'm good, but my wife is really great. And she's got all these talents and all this. And being Indian, I love getting a good deal. And I think we got a very good deal here with the two of you.
I love it.
Oh, maybe.
I also do the head shake with it.
It's amazing. So good. Well done.
So I feel like we got like a really great deal here, having you guys work together. And sometimes when you work together in ministry, there's conflict can arise. You can disagree. And there's one thing disagreeing with a spouse, and there's another thing disagreeing with somebody else who's just a colleague. Share experiences. How would you deal with all that?
Well, it's really not a new thing for us, right? Between church planting and then the last 5 years that we spent on staff together, like it's a bit commonplace actually in our house for Melissa and I to work together in ministry and then have a home life as well, and learn how to do mutual submission well, whether that's at home or whether that's in the workplace. It's the same thing, to have really clear lines of communication. So like for anybody wondering, it's not the same thing as co-pastoring, right? We're not saying that, hey, Melissa and Tim are the pastors together. We have an org chart at Burnett, and I understand that that I am accountable to the board in a different way than Melissa is for leadership. And so if push comes to shove, we're clear about that and comfortable with that. There's not going to be any conflict there. If we disagree, sometimes we have to agree to disagree, and that's where it sits. And then we have to leave those decisions based on whose job description fulfills the final call. But a lot of the time it comes kind of down to me to say, okay, no, guys, this is the direction we're going to go in. And Melissa's great at getting on board with that and following along. We understand that, we have our conversations behind the scenes. Somebody has to make a decision. When we make a decision, we move on.
Yeah, and conflict isn't a bad thing.
No.
It's good to disagree and discuss and work through it. I think we hear that, conflict is horrible, but no, it's not. It's actually a good thing to have and work through it. So Melissa, tell me what your role would look like now here at the church.
So I think everyone's in agreement that we're trying to figure out what this next season looks like. We're trying to figure out who's still at Burnett. What are our needs as a church? And we do know with losing a kids pastor and a youth pastor that we have a need in kids and youth. And so I'm going to be helping to organize kids ministry and making sure that is all up and ready for the fall. Volunteer recruitment, leadership training, I'll be involved with that. Tim and I are going to be jumping into youth to help organize, again, train up leaders and making sure we have a really awesome youth program for our kids. It's really, really important. The kids ministry and youth ministry is highly important. I said last week, it's great that we have kids in the room because it means that we're a growing church. As soon as you don't see kids, that's a problem, right? Because we need to continue. We need to be passing on this to the next generation, so that's our legacy. And so we need to see kids in the room. So it's really important. So it's important for us to have a strong kids and youth program. So I'll be working on that. We have some great curriculum. I also have a marketing and social media background as well. So I'm going to be stepping in, handling some of that, and then along with some just other pastoral duties that'll come up.
Excellent.
I just want to add also that the leadership board will be actually evaluating Melissa's performance 9 months from now in time to be able to give a full report to the church before our next AGM, which, remember, is only about 10 months away. So these things are coming very quickly. Finally, Tim, and I know you're going to morph into a small commercial for the next 6 weeks, but I didn't realize when we talked this morning that you already had this plan. But for me, this decision has been a significant one, and it seems, particularly for people here in the church, that this is a very big and for some people a very fast decision. Because of my work environment, I'm very used to making decisions like that. But this is the critical question for a local church, and that is our mission so important that sometimes decisions have to be made quickly?
Yeah, I think that's a way that the church has needed to morph for some time. In this culture that moves so quickly, we have to be adaptable, and we have to be ready to move kind of at the speed of what's going on around us. Sometimes, and that's all influenced, by our mission. So I said last week when I was talking to dads, hey, life is critical. What we do as Christians matters. The Apostle Paul knew this when he wrote that analogy for us. We prepare for spiritual life as someone who's getting ready to compete in the Olympics. It is an all-encompassing, something that we dedicate our whole life to. And the scriptures are really clear that when we've been given some responsibility, that the Lord is going to hold us to account of that. And so sometimes we have time and we have the luxury of time, and we're going to take time and evaluate. In some cases, like right now, if we take 3 months, which is would still be fast to find a new full-time employee. If we took 3 months, well, we're already into the fall, right? And what do we do with kidsmen and youthmen then, right? We're trying to build a plane while we're flying it the entire time, which, sometimes you do, but that's tough. And I just think, what we do matters so much. And God has been doing such an important work in our church that I don't want to see what he's called us to get slowed down just because we have decision fatigue or decision paralysis. And so let's just get to it. We understand some of the uniqueness of what has been proposed by the leadership board, but at the same time, it's easy for me to take out a flyer on Melissa, not because she's my wife, but because I've worked with her for so long that I know that it will go well.
Mm-hmm. And with everything happening, change is constantly happening when you're listening to the news with, now we're allowed to have 10 people, now you're allowed to have 50 people, all this, the change is happening so quickly that we have to be able to make those decisions quickly enough so that when maybe in the next month this place is all full, and we've had Amy's dictionary definition of Melissa, and then my Bible definition from my Bible, which isn't theologically correct in this case, is blessed are the flexible, for they shall not break. And we have that, right? There's going to be lots of stuff happening, lots of excitement. It is.
Yeah, and when things are moving fast and when you're on mission, Steve, you know this, you go looking for people with flexible skills, right? That can really slot in anywhere. And that's what we needed more than anything else to fulfill our mission over the next, year or so.
Thanks so much.
Okay.
Thank you, Amy.
Thank you,
I
everyone.
enjoyed being up here
Thank
with you.
you for we spoke even longer this time than we did last time. So
Yeah.
let me pray for everyone, and we'll head out. Why don't we stand up together and yeah. God, thanks so much for this good day. Thanks for the opportunity that we have to be together. It wasn't that long ago that I think we all probably took church just a little bit for granted. Like, this will never stop happening. And these last 18 months have given us a perspective. And so we thank you for the challenges that have come into our life so that we could learn to appreciate one another and this place in our community, in our call to mission with you, even more deeply than we have before. God, help that to really sink into our hearts as we prepare for our week. Help us to have wonderful days, just relaxing, spending time with our family. Keep everybody safe as we continue to come back into this place. God, we just pray for protection over our church building and over our church family. I pray for protection as we know that people just couldn't come this morning because they had heat stroke. And it's just really hot out, and we just want everybody to be safe. And God, keep us in your hand and ready for the mission that you've called us to. We ask in Christ's mighty name. Amen.
Amen.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great week.
Well, Burnett, I hope that was a helpful look into our family life, an enjoyable time to spend sharing some laughs and getting to know one another. And I hope that you'll reach out to Melissa. As you heard, she's joining us on our staff in an interim role, to welcome her and encourage her this week. She will have her email set up very soon, melissa@burnettchurch.com. And of course, you can get to us through our social channels as well. Any opportunity you have to welcome her would be greatly appreciated. Thanks so much, everyone, and I hope to see you very, very soon. As always, if you need anything or you have any prayer requests, please reach out to myself. Send it to info@burnettchurch.com or get in touch with us in person. Thanks so much. Bye for now.